Hi, this is part 3 of Connecting with the Higher Energies. Today I'd like to go into going with the flow. Going with the flow is sort of a universal thing. It's a Taoist concept. Going with the flow is basically allowing the force, the flow, to move through you. Qigong Tai Chi demonstrate this. It's basically working with the energy, feeling, connecting with the energy, bringing it in, sending it out, doing movements. And that in its core essence is what going with the flow is. Its analogy is a river. That river flows out into a lake or an ocean, and it's on its journey. You don't push against the river. Ideally, you don't dam it up. You allow it to flow. And life is that way. We're structured that way. And that's what I'd like to look at. There's the higher energies. It's like going with the flow and connecting with the higher energies and pulling it through. Masters know this and do it. I'm certain of that. The yogic practices, Qigong, Tai Chi, meditation, all of that, as one progresses on that, I'm certain they are aware of that, they work with that energy, and that becomes fine-tuned, like they're doing a piano, where they get better and better. That's that concept, and that's certainly something that we'll talk about later. But for now, I'd like to look at the mundane, like living life in this world and basically going with the flow. There's many things written about it. One that comes to mind is Byron Katie. And it's about non-resistance, it's about accepting what is. Doing that certainly takes away, makes life not stress-free, but it goes a long way towards making life a pleasure. Also, I think it makes us more effective in life. We're not fighting something, we're not trying to control things. We're seeing the way things go and we're moving with it. With that in mind, I'd like to share an experience I had a couple days ago. It's funny, it made me laugh because I was thinking, somebody asked me, what happened to you? What did you do today? I said, I had a really good experience. I had a root canal. And it's like, that would be the thing that we fear or not want the most. But I was in a situation where I realized that things can go wrong when somebody does a root canal. And she was trying to save a crown. And I knew this dentist was doing everything she could. So I decided, and I was able to achieve being the ideal patient. I didn't resist anything. Instead of tightening up and in fear, I relaxed my muscles and just accepted it. And the discomfort, there was some discomfort, I just adapted to it. I didn't say I don't like this, stop this, do something better. I just allowed, and on top of that, I saw her as really skilled, and I had real appreciation for this dentist, and I sort of was in that vibe. And I know from past experience, when you're in that, people perform the best. If you have an employee and you see them in a good light and you see them as, and really appreciate what they bring in, their talents and whatnot, I mean, you get the most out of the employee. That's kind of common knowledge. Well, I did that. And I have to say, that I felt like I was the perfect patient. I just, was in a good space. I didn't feel pain. You anticipate it's going to be painful and what. Well, there was Novocaine. That wasn't that big of a deal, even though I hate needles being put in and being injected with that. It wasn't a big deal. And it went fairly fast, and I was surprised that it didn't cost that much. And it was a lesson. All of these experiences, this is what I want to share, are potential lessons. And that, I felt, was going with the flow. They're living examples of a concept. I mean, you can study these concepts from philosophy and spirituality, but when you live them and you abide them and you are aware of possibilities, that's what I think I'd like to convey. It's like we have so many opportunities that we don't even see. Like, what would you see accomplishing going for a root canal? You just want to get in there and get out, and that's through. You don't want to think about it. But this was like, it didn't cause pain. It's not like a terrible experience. In fact, I felt accomplished. I felt like, hey, this person did a good job, but I was part of that. And this is how life can be. I don't have to be the person doing the thing and have the skill and, accomplishing it. I can just be a good whatever, either observer or participant, assistant, whatever, and that has significance. That is really a part of the whole. The whole is this project. In this case, it was working on my mouth and my teeth and being successful and having a good result. Well, I was a part of that. I wasn't separate from that. I wasn't like, come on, I'm paying you, and that's what I'm doing. I expect it to be good. That's not being a perfect client or a perfect patient. And so I wanted to share that, and that's going with the flow. And I really believe from my life experience that it's those little things, it's living, that allow you to eventually, if you choose this, to work with the universal energies, to be able to go with the flow, and you start to feel and you bring in the energies and you flow with it. You don't push it, you don't control it, you don't, tighten up, you don't try to make it what you want. You learn what it wants. And that's something you have to only have the experience to understand that. What does it want? We think of it, in terms of that, it has no consciousness. It's just it's us doing it. We're intending and having it happen a certain way. No, it's like, what does that force want? What is it about that force? And I allow that to flow. A master at Qigong or Tai Chi knows that force. They know how to move bodily with it. They know how that energy, they feel it flowing. So what they can do with that is that can help with their health, but it can serve too. It's like, you can bring that into Reiki, and you can bring that into just literally helping whatever, your environment. In other words, I could see, I don't have a practice with this, but waking up before your day's task, be whatever it is, if you're managing something, you're developing a project, you're engaged in building something, whatever, but you do a Tai Chi and you sort of meditate with that energy flowing, and you feel and you see it going in, and at the same time you're creating in your mind and signals perfect project, a perfect example. Similar to what although that's kind of very mundane, the experience I had having the root canal. I kind of was participating in that, even though I was receiving it. Could be you're managing a project, so you want to bring the best out in everybody. You want to have harmony and whatnot. So you get into the flow of harmony, and you start to see and feel the harmony going out, and you move that energy, and that energy starts getting picked up by people. Then you're a real leader. Then you're bringing out the best, and you're creating a wonderful project, and you're doing that with energy. You're not doing it by sure will or going and reading all the books of how to psychologically do the best things. That has a place, but I consider that as like low end compared to being with the chi, being with the force and working with it. So we're going to go into many things like this. There's so much to cover. And this is what I'm about. This is what this channel is about. It's about practical ways in which you can bring the world of energy, the world of spirit, into the practical physical world. You can bring the world alive. You can bring your environment alive. Everybody does this will change the world. But, it starts with ourselves, one person at a time. So that is what I'm going to do. And I invite you to join. Thank you, and namaste.